All right, guys, this is MobileGamerNerd, and we are back with another Raid Shadow Legends free-to-play Mr. Richard only run video. Today is a day. No, today is the day that we're going to talk about the heroes I don't use. And they're all the Legos that we've all gotten for free. And if you have been watching my channel, then you know that this is a Mr. Richard only run, and it's only heroes that I know that every single one of you will get 100%. Some of the other ones are still kind of strewn about, like you'll get them from summons or from promo codes, but not every person may get certain heroes, so I don't use them. And I get asked a lot if people should replace people with certain heroes or whatever, because they've gotten these legendaries. And we also just received a new one, so we're going to talk about him today as well. And we're just going to go through them. There's only 6, and most of you have seen them before, but at least now you get to kind of see what my opinion of these heroes are, because I never use them. So yeah, I only fight them. And I'll let you know if I hate them or not, and how I feel about them from my own personal experience. So let's take a look at them. We have all 6 of them, so we're gonna go through them and check them out. So let's see, who do we got here? So sorry, you had to go through all my 60s. Ha ha. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm not. No, but I am. All right. So let's start with the new guy, our new boy on the block, Wraithos Blade Master. He is a dragon hunter, monster hunter, a butt hunter, whatever you want to call him. He is a hunter, and I have never looked at his skills. So this is going to be the first time for me as well. So we'll see how he is and if he's that good. So let's check out his skill kit and see what he's about. So his A1, he attacks one enemy, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns. If the target is a boss, this debuff cannot be resisted. So right off the cuff, that's an amazing skill. I mean, basically, this guy's essentially a boss killer, from what I can tell. I mean, from what I've heard, I haven't honestly watched any videos about him. I literally don't pay attention to any of these free heroes anymore because I just don't need them. But yeah, that's a really good skill. And if you're a brand new player and you want a 60% decreased defense on all bosses, basically, unless they are resistant to it, boom, you've got it right now. Attacks one enemy. Every second use of this skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. So basically, you use it once, use it again, and he has an AoE on his A1. So that's ridiculous. We'll also ignore 25% of the target's defense. If the target is a boss, we'll ignore 100% of the target's defense. That is also ridiculous. So, yeah, I could see that being very useful, that you just don't have to worry about ignore defense. You can just put them in all attack. Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, places a 30% increased crit damage buff and a 30% increased speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. So that means basically you get your speed up, your crit, and then you whap everybody in the face, and that's pretty cool as well. Then you've got inflicts 50% more damage against targets under HP burn debuffs, receives 25% less damage from enemies under HP burn debuffs, so that's really nice. And every 5th skill used by this champion deals 200% more damage. That's kind of ridiculous also. So basically every 5 times you use a skill, you're doing 200% more damage. That is all right. So a lot of people would look at that as like, okay, he's going to be a nightmare in the arena. Well, he's not meant for arena, and you shouldn't build him for arena because he doesn't seem that ridiculous. Because the whole point with arena is that you want to kill the team in the first round, maybe 2. So at best, he might get an AoE off, unless he's really fast and you just are, fighting a team that's insanely built. We're not talking about those people. We're just talking about your average players. And every second hit would be an AoE on this, right? Was it this one? No, it was this one. Every second time. I don't remember. Either way, yeah, here we go. Every second time. So this has a 4-turn cooldown, so that doesn't matter. And this is going to place a decreased defense debuff on one enemy, so that doesn't really do much for you in arena either. I mean, unless you put them in like Stone Skin and can just put them with like a ton of heroes that are just really defensive and revive. I mean, why go through all that? You could just put a better hero in there. You know what I mean? So, do I think he's going to be? I mean, you're definitely going to fight him in the arena, definitely, because all the new players are going to have him. So yeah, you're fighting him in the arena. That's like, there's no doubt about it that people are going to build him in the arena. And he's not an arena hero. He is a defensive hero. He's not defense. He is a dungeon hero and a boss killer. That's what you should build him for. I would not build this guy for arena. I'm sure they're going to change it. I mean, like I said, this is just my opinions. I've never used him. I've never seen him in action. This is the first day that he's released. So, it is what it is. But yeah, I wouldn't build him for that. He does have an attack in dungeons by 30%, which funny enough, I almost never use except for speedrunning. So like, and when I say speedrunning, I mean like killing the spider fast or something like that. Like if you want to go in there and just wipe him out, this could be a good hero for that kind of thing because that attack up is good. But I use your Carl for that, and your Carl has turn meter reduction, which is stupidly helpful in a lot of bosses, especially spider, because you can just keep the turn meter down and the boss never gets a hit. So you don't have to worry about getting hit and regenerative HP and all that. Now, if this guy's built really well, he might be able to kill the bosses pretty quickly. But hey, we'll see how he does. And I mean, would I build him over one of my current heroes? Like, would I build him over your Carl? I mean, no, I probably wouldn't, honestly. Not against your Carl because your Carl is he's just too good. His crowd control is way too good. Like these attack heroes are good. And the problem is though, they have trouble with the waves unless they're super built because the waves will just kill you in one hit because you're so attack heavy. That's just my personal experience from this game. So your Carl is like one of the people that dies a lot in bosses, but for waves, he is phenomenal because he freezes the whole wave and then steals turn meter and then does it again. So he's just constantly cycling. And if you watch my Fire Knight video, you'll know that I have a no hit team where they basically just don't get hit the entire run. I think one time they got hit by one of the ads, but the boss doesn't hit them, the waves don't hit them, they just literally wipe them out. So would I choose him over someone like you, Carl? No, I would not. But definitely a great hero for new players. Definitely a great hero for people who are struggling in dungeons. I feel like he could definitely help you out in almost every dungeon as long as the affinity matches. Otherwise, he might become a little bit less, helpful. But I think he would still do good, especially that 200% attack, that 200% hit thing, whatever that was. Yeah, every fifth skill deals 200% more damage. Like he's gonna do like one hit kills. I'm sure there's gonna be videos where he does it on a boss. Like he's just gonna walk in and like just tap the dragon boss and just watch him die. So yeah, if you're looking for a dungeon killer, someone to help you in the waves, all this guy needs is some help with wave control. In the early game, obviously not. You're just starting, but yeah, once you get into like 20 plus, you're going to need wave killers. I mean, crowd control and all that. So I don't think he will really push that far. And I definitely think that anyone who builds him in the arena would have to do something with like stone skin to keep him alive long enough in order for him to be able to use like that AoE or use his 200% attack. But honestly, I don't think he's going to last that long. I mean, most of the fights, like even what's his name, Artak, who we're going to talk about, I've seen him very defensive, and I think the worst one that I ever fought, I killed him in like 2 or 3 rounds. So he's probably not going to get to that point unless he's really fast. So that's what I think about Rathos. We'll see how it goes. But he is pretty badass looking. I'm not going to lie, and I definitely think he's going to help a lot of players out. If you're new and if you're struggling specifically in dungeons, this is your man. All right, let's look at the oldest version, the oldest one of all the heroes, Delana. Yeah, I mean, I used to hate her. Now I think she's a joke because my spirit host kills her, like easily kills her. So we don't care about her. And I have soul bond, so I can one shot her. So yeah, she doesn't bother me at all in the arena anymore. Uh, Basically, here's a problem, guys. If you use the same heroes that everyone gets for free like this, like that everyone just gets these legendaries, everyone thinks that just putting them into the team is going to be a good idea, and sometimes it's not. And Deliana is one of those prime examples. Like she's great against PvE, but in the arena, I don't think I've seen one kill me yet. Like since I figured her out. Like back in the old days, you'll see her kill me all the time because I had crap teams. But now that I have Soulbon, I have Yakar, like all these heroes. I can remove all the debuffs, all the buffs she puts up on the team. I can freeze the whole team so that they have to waste a turn. I can use Arbiter. I mean, there's so many things that I can do now to nullify everything that she does. The only thing she has going for her is counterattack. And at that point, you don't even need her because I can just freeze you. All right, let's look. Attacks all enemies, has a 50% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Easily countered with Spirit Host. She can just remove it. All right, so there you go. Damage is based on HP, which is good. It means you can build her with tons of HP. Attacks one enemy, has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased resistance debuff for 2 turns. If the target is under a block buff's debuff, also applies debuff spread effect, taking any decreased resistance debuff on the target and placing it on all enemies. Damage is based on HP. Once again, pretty cool. I mean, it's a cool skill, blocking buffs and all that stuff. Like I said, Spirit Host negates this entire thing. So, and I use her in some of my tag teams, and every time she's up against Deliana, she wins. And if you've watched my videos, you've seen her win. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing block buffs Debuffs on each enemy for 2 turns. Heals all allies by 5% of their max HP for each block buff debuff placed. Fills the champion's turn meter by 10%. So basically, people are banking on her getting counters and attacking all enemies and just healing and filling turn meter and just constantly doing it. But if she's frozen, then none of this matters. Increases this champion's accuracy by 2 for every 1,000 HP this champion has. Has a 25% places a 25% strengthen buff on all allies for 2 turns every time this champion's HP drops to 50%. So basically, what you figured out is if there's a tanky hero, you kill that dude first because you don't want to be content. You don't want to have to contend with a tank with strengthen. All right. 2, you bring in someone like Ryan or Arbiter who can remove this. I mean, that's really it. I mean, Ryan's the best version of it, but I found that even that, if you kill everyone else first and leave her for last, then her strengthen is essentially useless in the arena. She is strictly a PvE hero, in my opinion. Like a lot of people use her in the arena, and she's a waste in the arena. Like I personally would never build her specifically for the arena unless you're putting her in a reflex set, stone skin, things like that that'll keep her alive long enough to where she can do enough damage and get the strengthen up, and that's really it. But yeah, I mean, even with the strengthen, I haven't had much trouble with her. And like I said, Spirit Host kills her on a one-on-one. Like I literally can just spam A1. I don't even have to do any other things. I don't have to. And if she does leech, I can do the remove buffs, I mean debuffs, and then just keep whapping her with my. I keep saying whap. That's a song. We're not talking about that song. Um, but yeah, just keep hitting her with my A1 and we're done. Like she's not hard to beat in the arena anymore for me personally. Now, if you're new, yeah, she's a pain in the ass, and I hated her back in the day, and I couldn't stand her when she first released. So there's that. Um, would I replace her with anyone on my team right now? I don't think so. I would use her. I would build her and use her for arena. I mean, not for arena, for spiders maybe. For some of the dungeon runs, for Doom Tower, she'd probably be useful with the leeches. Blocking buffs is also very good for Doom Tower, Faction War City. So yeah, she is worth building. Is she worth building over my other heroes? I mean, I'm sure she's better than some of them. I can't imagine her being worse than Madman. I just built him, but I mean, Madman's actually pretty good. He's funny, but yeah, like would I build her over Madman? Yeah, probably. But like, am I going to build her over one of my main heroes? No. I would personally use Kale over her anyway. But then there's things that she's really good at. So don't think she's bad. None of these heroes are bad. They're just overhyped. Well, some of them are. Some of them are not. All right, let's move on from Delana. We don't really care about her anymore. Oh, actually, she's got HP in all battles. So there you go. That's actually not bad. It's like 3% higher than some of the better ones that I have. All right, on to the ultimate dickhead. That's what I call him. He's not ultimate death knight to me. So yeah, I don't like this guy at all. And not because he's bad, but because he's honestly the most irritating hero in the game. And the fact that everyone has him and uses him for the exact same purpose in every single team in the arena makes me hate him. So yeah, if you want to build him to be irritating, go ahead. You can be one of those people. He's amazing for regular content because his ability to keep your team alive, obviously good for Hydra, good for clan boss, good for dungeons. I mean, if you want to keep someone alive, he's the guy. I mean, he's literally the guy for it. And why? Well, let's look at him. So attacks one enemy, has a 30% chance of placing a provoke debuff for 1 turn. The chance increases to 55% against a legendary champion. So he's good at doing more damage against your Carl. Attacks all enemies, has an 80% chance of placing a 50% decrease attack debuff for 2 turns. Also has an 80% chance of placing fear debuff for 1 turn on each legendary champion. Luckily, the team that I usually fight him with, he's usually in the first slot on tag team, is a all rare team, so that doesn't really affect me. But yeah, definitely you're going to want your heroes getting feared, so that's not good. Places a shield buff and a 15% continuous heal buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield is proportional to the champion's defense. So basically, you're just going to build him all defense, and he's going to get an extra shield. Whenever an ally is attacked, has a 100% chance of completely blocking 1 hit, decreasing the incoming damage to 0. This champion will receive that damage instead. It also will redirect any debuffs from the hit to this champion. The chance of blocking a hit and redirecting the debuff decreases to 50% if the attacker is a boss. Does not work if the attack on the ally was an AoE attack. So that's good. Whenever the enemy is healed, heals this champion by 20% of that heal. So Yeah, and he's got defense 30% in all battles. So there's that. So let's just talk about him real quick. He really is a schmuck hero. Like people use him, they'll put him in Stone Skin, and then basically you'll attack everybody and it just goes to him. So you only have a couple of options against him in the arena. And one of them, if he doesn't have Stone Skin, you can one shot him with someone like, if you're building properly, someone like Soul Bond, who has the decrease, what is that? Ignore defense for almost 100% if you build her correctly. So you can use her and just build her crit rate and crit damage up and just kill him in one hit. Option one. You can also use someone like, what's her name? What's that legendary girl? I can't think of it. Yannicka. She has a really good strong hit. Basically, any really good Spirit Affinity single target killer is what you want. I've even used my guy, what's his name? Twin Claw Disciple up here. We'll show him real quick. Where is he? Right here. I've even used him to kind of take Death Knight out. He works well with that as well because he's very strong single target. And I know no one uses him, which is why he's like my little secret weapon. I love him. Twin Claw Disciple, my boy. So you basically want to one shot him. Otherwise, the other thing with him is if you put him in Stone Skin, you have to use AoEs on everybody. Now, what people do to counter that is they will bring in someone like, I don't know, what's that stupid girl's name? I was about to say Disciple. I can't remember her name. It doesn't matter. The one that revives everybody, basically. There's a couple of them. There's like the fairy one, there's the lizard one, and then there's I think she's dark elf or I don't remember what she is. It'll come to me eventually, but yeah, you can put one of those heroes in that just constantly heals and revives, and basically anytime he dies, that hero will revive him, and then you start the cycle all over again. And anybody who's not strong enough will basically not be able to kill you. All right, literally forever, like forever, will not be able to kill you. So the only thing that works in that case, from what I've seen, would be if you have bombs and all that stuff, take Stone Skin out. That works too, but you can use freeze to take him out and to take out whoever the healer is or whatever, to freeze them. And that way on an AoE attack, like someone like your Carl or stun, like Syl, something like that. And then you'd have to come in and wait out the Stone Skin. I've done it. I've had plenty of fights where I just waited his Stone Skin out. If the team's easy, you can just AoE the whole team and just kill them. And if not, then you got to wait it out, and hopefully you have someone like Mithrala who can put up a shield or something and just keep your team protected and healed until such time that you can one-shot Mr. Ultimate Death Knight. Now, the new combo that I've been seeing... So, I mean, before I get into that real quick, because he'll be the next hero. Would I build him? Yes. I mean, if I was a new player, he would be one of the first heroes I build. He's just too good at PvE and arena. But the problem is everyone plays with him. So you're not, that's just because you use him. It just means your defenses might be good, but your attacking team might not be that great. But either way, he's worth building for dungeons. He's a great tank. He's an actual tank because he does take all the hits. But you got to build him really defensive, and you got to make sure he doesn't die because he's going to be taking a lot of hits. But he's very resilient, and this dude's really good. So what people do now in the arena is they go on to the next hero, which is Sun Wukong. Now, by himself, he's just a nuisance. All right. You can basically just hit him in one shot and you're fine. Unless he's so fast and strong that he one shots your whole team, in which case you can just put a shield on your team or block butt, whatever it is you got. I would say just get a really strong shielder in a bolster set or whatever, and just let him do his first hit, and then you can kill him because he's easy to kill. Your Carl can basically one shot him. Most DPS can one shot him. He doesn't have a lot of HP. So what the new combo is, though, is that they'll put him with Death Knight. So what does that do? Now, let's look at his skills real quick, and you'll find out why I literally will say the F word if I could. Well, I can. I'm not going to. I would literally say how much I hate this effing group of heroes. All right, so attacks one enemy has a 25% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. The chance increases to 50% if the target has any buffs. All right, so that's nice. Attacks one enemy will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Will attack all remaining enemies with any surplus damage if the target is killed. This attack will also ignore 50% of the target's defense. This attack cannot be critical, so that's nice. If the initial target survives, places a sheep debuff on them. So basically, he has sheep built into his kit. Isn't that great? Attacks all enemies. Before attacking, steals all buffs from all enemies, and then places a block buff, debuff on them for 2 turns. That is a ridiculous move. Revives this champion with 100% HP and 100% turn meter for 3 turns after they were killed. So, now, just so we're clear about this part right here, this is infinite. If you ever watch that movie Neighbors, how many? Infinite. It's infinite. I'm not going to tell you what it's in reference to unless you've watched the movie, but yeah. All right, so this is infinite. Like, he can just keep reviving, which is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. So basically, what people do is they'll put Mr. Death Knight here in Stone Skin. I'm basically teaching you how to be a jackass in this game, but hey, whatever. It is what it is. People are going to do it regardless. So they put him in Stone Skin, and then they put him with Sun Wukong. So basically, the only thing you can do is kill Sun Wukong, and then he just revives. And then you got to kill Death Knight. They'll make Death Knight stupid defensive, and you got to wait that whole thing out. They'll make Death Knight really slow, like literally 0 speed added on him, and put him in Stone Skin. So unless you can break the Stone Skin, you're essentially just going to keep killing Sun Wukong until the Stone Skin's gone, which conceivably could be, if your team is really fast, it could be a long time before anything happens. And Sun Wukong, if you made him super fast, yeah, he's just going to keep reviving and getting more quick turns. He'll probably, if he's fast enough, he'll go as soon as he revives, essentially. Like, that's what happens. It's kind of ridiculous. So yeah, this combo is horrible. He's really good hero in the arena, like, and he's got the speed lead in the arena, so he's built for arena. He's basically the new, you don't even need Arbiter anymore. You literally just got a free Monkey King, and you have your speed lead. All you got to do is make him super fast and make Death Knight super slow in the arena, and nobody's going to be able to kill you. So unless obviously the stronger teams that are metas, they're going to kill you. But yeah, who's playing platinum right now? Anyone? Yeah, not me. So essentially, that's it. Like, he's a really good hero. That revive thing is definitely ridiculous. You can do block revive. You can do a couple things to kind of negate him, but at the same time, if he's with Death Knight, that's the problem, because you can't use a single target hit on him and block revive. See what I mean? So unless you have an AoE block revive, which I don't know who does that. Maybe Xavia. I forgot who it was. Somebody has it. There's like Xavia or the other one that's Lydia. One of them has block revive. I just don't remember who it was. One of those girls. That's the only way to really beat him outside of waiting him out and being able to stay alive long. So yeah, this is a great team for the arena. These two. I would probably skip Delana and Rathos for arena, but yeah. Now, Ronda is good for arena if she's fast and can hit everybody. From my experience, I just one-shot her or freeze her, and then she's dead the next round. So she hasn't been too much. The only time she hurts me is when she goes fast and she's the first person to go, and she gets attack up somehow before me. Like, say you've got an Arbiter and they get her attack up, and then she immediately comes in with her AoE and just kills my whole team. So yeah, she's good in that respect. If you're going to use her as a go first hero in the arena, she's amazing. If you're not using her for that and you just want to use her as a DPS in the arena, you're probably going to get your flaming fist handed to you, as they say. So basically, she has an attack on one enemy 3 times, places an extra hit if the target has less than 50% HP after the 3rd hit. Attacks one enemy 3 times, will ignore shield buffs and 30% of the target's defense. Places a block passive skill debuff for 2 turns when attacking. Before attacking. This debuff cannot be resisted. And also places a block active skills debuff for 2 turns after attacking. This debuff cannot be resisted. So there's got some debuffs going on. That's good. A lot of blocking and things going on with these heroes. Attacks all enemies 2 times. Damage increased by 30% if the champion has more than 50% HP. So obviously, go first. And then immune to turn meter reduction effects when this skill is not on cooldown. Decreases all turn meter reduction effects against this champion by 50% when the skill is on cooldown. So yeah, that's a lot of annoyance. And then has a 50% chance to join an attack whenever an ally attacks an enemy. This champion will attack with their default skill. So that's terrible. At the start of each round, places a shield buff on this champion for 2 turns, equal to 40% of their max HP. So her with Wukong and the King Boy here, you're starting to see that they stack. All right, like this shield thing is bad. At the start of each round, places a shield. So she's going to place her own shield. It doesn't really do much because she's mostly attack anyway, but she's gonna get a shield every round, which makes her damage lower. Death Knight's going to have his stone skin or his shield going on all the time, so that's more shield. And then you got Wukong just kind of reviving himself over and over again. So these three together on the arena are really, really annoying. And by annoying, I mean good. So they work really well together, but just remember that everyone's going to be doing it. So there's that. You're better off, in my opinion, trying to find a counter to this team rather than building it. But they're all really good for dungeons. I mean, she's a Fire Knight. She's great for Fire Knight. I would say he's really good at anything. I mean, basically, he just keeps reviving, so it doesn't matter if he dies. That's great. And Ultimate Death Knight will keep everyone alive by kind of stopping them from getting hit. So if it's an AOE boss, yeah, he's going to be less helpful. But yeah, if it's like a single target attack boss or something, or just waves in general, that's just single target. Yeah, Death Knight's the one to do. But yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with any of those three. I mean, Ronda's really good. I think Sun Wukong is really good, and I would build them all. But once again, it's like who would they replace on my teams? Honestly, anybody, because they're all DPS. It's a DPS, and then a tank. So really, just whoever is not your strongest would replace them. I mean, these guys are pretty good. Would I spend my books on them? I don't know. I'd have to use them a little bit and see how they do. And then the last one, Artak. He's an HP burner and probably good for Spider and some other stuff in Doom Tower. But let's look at him. I've only seen him in the arena a couple times where he actually killed me. Most of the time, he just dies. So I probably wouldn't recommend him for the arena. Attacks all enemies, has 35% chance to extend the duration of any HP burn debuff on each target by 1 turn. Attacks all enemies before attacking, instantly activates any HP burn debuffs on each enemy. Has a 75% chance of placing a 50% decreased attack buff on all enemies for 2 turns. So that sucks if you want to do more damage. Attacks all enemies 2 times. So a lot of AoE. Has a 75% chance of placing HP burn debuff on all enemies. Restores this champion's destroyed max HP by 10% for each HP burn debuff placed by this skill. Heals this champion by 5% of their max HP for each HP burn debuff attempt blocked or resisted by the enemy team. That was a lot to say, and I messed it up, but I'm sorry. You can read it. Whenever an HP burn debuff is activated, destroys this champion's max HP by 5%, stacks up to 50%, increases this champion's crit damage. Wow, no, it's damage. Damage, crit damage, and defense by 1% for each 1% of their destroyed max HP. Also increases this champion's speed and resistance by 2 for each 1% of their destroyed max HP. So that's really good for Hydra. Like, he's probably a banging ass Hydra killer. Really good for Spider, really good for any of that stuff. And now that you have Rathos, he inflicts 50% more damage against targets under HP burn and receives less damage from targets under HP burn. So now you've got Ardak, who's in conjunction with Rathos. I think you have a good team now for dungeons. You can basically activate each other's skills and have fun with that. But yeah, great for dungeons, great for Spider, great for Hydra. I could see a lot of uses for him, possibly even Clan Boss could be useful, but I would say more Hydra than Clan Boss. Yeah, because the HP destroy tactic thing kind of works in there because they do that to you. So he's basically going to be getting more crit speed and all that stuff while healing himself back up. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I feel like this guy could be really good in Hydra. And for new players, I think especially, instead of waiting for Drex or for Akoth, which is a while, you basically got him right for free, and you can just build him as your AoE HP burner, and I think you'd be set for Hydra. Literally from the first day, you could probably start getting, well, maybe not the first day, you'd have to get him to 60 and build him, but from the first time you probably get to Hydra, if you were focused on Artak, yeah, you could probably do some reasonable damage in there and get that first box pretty quickly from the beginning and get Mithrala sooner than I did. I mean, took me over a year, so it could definitely speed that up for you. So would I build him? Yeah, I would. 100%. I would build him if I was a new person. I'm more of about the PvE aspect of the game. Arena's kind of a joke at this point. It's like a meme, but like, yeah, I think all of these heroes have their place. I think they're all good for PvE aspects, and I don't feel like any one of the 6 would be a bad choice of building. It's really just which one you think you need the most. I mean, if you're struggling in Spider and Hydra, I would go with Artak, you know what I mean, and maybe Rathos. if you're struggling in Fire Knight, go with Ronda. Death Knight's good for pretty much all of them. Monkey King probably good for pretty much most of them. Uh, they're all probably really good for Ice Golem to get you through up to 25, so I wouldn't have a problem with that for any of them. But yeah, I mean they're all good, and I think if you guys have any problems, or I would just build the ones that are fixing your problems. That's it. That's how I look at my teams too. I mean, I build the next hero I build is always the one that I, at least in my hopes, is that it fixes the problem that I'm having. Like right now, I'm missing HP heroes and dwarves. I have 0 dwarves. Like all my dwarves suck except for a Veer and for Master Butcher. So that's why we're building my new 6-star Madman. So he's 56,000 power. He's doing pretty good. I actually am digging him. He's only level 49. He has no masteries yet, but all his skills are maxed, and he's got all his artifacts. So yeah, we just got to finish out his masteries, and then this guy with his bad hairdo, will be the man. All right, but yeah, I mean, just build the one that you think out of all these guys. I mean, just build the one you think is cool. I mean, who the hell cares? It's just like just play the game. But yeah, I would pick whoever's going to help you the most. If you're really struggling in dungeons, Rathos, Delana is the only one that I'm kind of like on the fence about what she would be good for. I know people have used her in counterattack gear, and she just kind of murders the spider by herself. So that might be good for hard mode when you have to kill spiders quickly and just kind of keep counterattacking. Death Knight is good for anything. Anywhere you need help staying alive, he's awesome. Great hero. Artak, Spider, Hydra, I think is where I would bring him in. Ronda is definitely Arena and Fire Knight, and maybe even a couple of other areas that she'd probably be useful. They're all probably really good in the city. They're all really good in Doom Tower, probably, at least the areas that you need to get through the waves. And Sun Wukong, same thing. I would say more Arena based and possibly not as much dungeons, but definitely still useful in dungeons and Doom Tower. So if you're looking for more of an arena team, I would say Death Knight, Wukong, and Ronda. And if you're looking for more PvE aspects and getting through dungeons, I would probably say Delana, Rathos, and Artak. All right, so if you have any questions about anything I said, I mean, like I said, remember, I've never used these heroes. I've never played with them. I have never been able to use them. I don't use them. I only use mystery shards and heroes everyone gets. So these are just my impressions of them and what I've seen them do in the game, because I don't really watch a lot of other content creators, so I don't really see them in action very often, but I see them in the arena, and I know who I have fought and who has not been very successful. Deliana is the least successful in the arena that I've seen. We'll see how Rathos plays out. I mean, maybe he'll end up becoming a complete nuisance in the arena. We'll find out. Unfortunately, we all will find out because everyone's getting him. And yeah, that's really it. So make sure you like, share, subscribe if you love this channel, and if you love this video, and if you love me, or if you just love cats and dogs. I don't care. Whatever you want to do, just like and subscribe if you want. And yeah, let me know how you feel about everything. All right, guys? So yeah, this is the 6 heroes that I do not use, but everyone else does. And this is Mobile Gamer Nerd. And you guys take care.